Hey friends, welcome to Gardening with Creekside. Today we have some projects going on. Very exciting. We are going to kind of take you a little bit kind of behind the scenes and show you what is happening here at Creekside. So here I am standing in the construction zone for our new Proven Winners signature garden. So the final design is complete, and now we can begin the whole process of getting all of the infrastructure in, the beds made, and start thinking about planting trees and shrubs, perennials this fall. So exciting. So let me give you a little overview on that, and then I am also going to show you, we've been working hard, our sweet folks have been working hard on getting the production area in the pines ready for all of our shade stuff. So we'll go give you an update on that as well. So, Jerry is behind me in the bobcat because he just pushed over a dead tree. So we had a poplar there, a tulip poplar that was dead. So that came out pretty easy, and the root system, root ball, that's just popping right out of the ground. So we'll talk more about that in a minute, but if you hear the commotion, that's what he's doing, is getting that dead tree out. Okay, so big picture here. This is where the Proven Winners signature garden is going to go. We're right here on the edge of the shrub lot, and we're gonna have two, as Cece calls them, elevated gardens right here, and then beyond we will have a the signature garden. I mean, this is all the signature garden, but a bit of a more formal design on that. So what I'm gonna do first is I am going to come over here to Johnny. Jackson's got the chainsaw and the chaps for his daddy, because his daddy's got to get some other trees out. But here we are, and I'm gonna try my best. We'll see how it shows up on the GoPro. But here we have the drawing for the garden. And if this does not show up, I have no idea if this is going to show up well on camera. If not, I will do my best to scan it and put a picture in on the video. So basically, these are those two elevated beds that I was showing you. Here is the pathway, and then down in the center we're going to have a fountain from Unique Stone will be there, and then all of these kind of triangular beds, these are going to be all of the planting areas. So lots of fun. The paths that go through it will all be grass, so everything's going to be grass. We're going to have a very formal design, like I said, very straight lines, 90 degrees, hard angles on the form of the bed. But the planting will still be in our classic Creekside style of just getting some gorgeous plants in there together. I was really kind of inspired. Let me step out of the sun here for a second. It's been actually quite lovely today. But when you get in the sun, it gets a little hot. So I was really inspired. I knew that I love the idea of like a formal garden. So we kind of played with that idea, thinking about like, do we line it with boxwoods, that kind of thing, and then fill in with, you know, the trees, shrubs, perennials, yada, 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 annuals. But then that's just not really like who we are. But when we were at Spring Meadow, if you remember when we did that garden tour and Jerry threw the drone up and just got, you know, a bird's eye view of that whole area, when he went over the new gardens there at the trial gardens, like the design just was so abundantly clear, and it was a very formal garden as far as the design. But when you were in the garden, like you were walking the beds, you had no feel for that. Like it felt very warm, very comfortable, right? But from a bird's eye view, like it was methodically planned out. And I was like, that is gorgeous. So I took that concept of that very formal straight lines, you got, you know, all the things, right? And I applied it here to our garden. And so that is what we have come up with. We are all really excited about it. Of course, we'll go into more detail, more depth as we come through this whole process. We'll take you along for the entire ride. But today is the first day where we really started to kind of shore some things up. These two, the elevated gardens right here, Jerry, you know, he gets so eager, and it is so hot, and the bobcat is air conditioned. So one day he had some, quote, time on his hands, and was having so much fun and brought in some soil from another part of the property and created these two beds right here. So we knew we had those lines. Basically, each bed is 33 feet long and 12 feet deep. And so I took that, and that was kind of my starting point for the rest of the garden. So as the boys remove the dead tree. So let's just kind of go in. So what we have been doing today is getting it all squared up so we know exactly where the garden is going to go. So we have, and it might be hard to show up on camera, but we have 4 of these rebar posts in the ground, and Jerry spray painted them white. So this is the one corner, and then straight down there on the other end is the other one. So everything here in this whole entire space is going to be those formal beds in the signature garden. Obviously we'll have to move the wind sculpture. That is going to be gone. We are going to remove the 15 perennials for the south. That bed will be removed. The plants we'll keep the plants, but this bed is going to be gone. And then this is the back corner right here that you can see this post right here. And then we're going to walk our way all the way down. It is, the entire garden is 73 feet wide. So what I'm walking right now is going to be 73 feet, and then it is 84 feet long. Yeah, so it's a 73 by 84. So here we have this next corner, and then way down there on the other side of the trees, right where that elevated garden is, that is where the 4th corner is. Now, you might be obvious to you right now that if this is the straight line of the gardens, well, we've got 3 trees right there. And those 3 trees would be right in the middle of flower beds and walkways, and so that is no good. So today what we're going to do is we're going to remove these 3 maple trees. These are maple trees that were volunteers, so it means they came up on their own, and so we are going to remove those so that way they are not in the garden and in the pathway, because you know that kind of ruins the whole garden. So they're going to be out, and then we have one more tree that is dying, like the top of it is completely dead, so we're going to take it out as well. Now, for you sweet people that love trees as much as I do, like truly, like I am not someone just to go willy-nilly being like, oh yeah, we're just gonna take out all the trees. No, I do enjoy a good tree. And I hate that those 3 have to come out, but it is, they just have to come out. So don't fret. So we have this beautiful shaded woodland hill right here full of, we've got maples and oaks and poplars and all sorts of great trees in here. All of these are going to stay except for that one. So there's the root ball. It's just right, you can see all those leaves right there. All of that one is going to be gone because, like I said, it is dead at the top and clearly is in distress. Don't worry, we have lots of future plans up here in this area, because while the all of this is going to be a signature garden, right? So the entire gardens back here will be considered the Proven Winners signature garden, but this is going to be that more formal design. As we come around up into this little shaded area right here, the beds are going to become less formal in the design. So they will not have those straight hard edges, those 90-degree angles, and so forth. We also are going to come in and revamp the pond. So we have a pond here that has been here for, gosh, at least 15, 16 years. And so the deal is with this pond, and I'm getting ready to get run over. Look at that little booger. So the deal is with this pond, it is a spring-fed pond. We have this pond here out of necessity, because if we did not capture this water, the entire nursery would be flooded and it would be an absolute bog. That is how we found this property. That was the state of the property when we first took ownership of it. my parents have always had to own this land, and my dad tried to farm it, but he couldn't because it was just an absolute bog down here. So Jerry, like I said, 15, 16 years ago, had a friend of ours who does excavating. He came, dug the pond out. We have a pipe. I think you can see that black pipe right here. That pipe allows water to flow out, so it is buried and goes all the way to the creek where the water comes out, and it is always a steady flow. So this pond captures our spring water. We do not irrigate out of it. We could, we just don't right now. Everything else is off of a well. So we are going to clean this up. We are going to plant gardens around it. We're gonna bring in new rocks. We're gonna do all the fun things with this pond. We are going to kind of embrace the natural area of this pond and move forth with that. Also, another thing about this pond is it contains a ton of wildlife. So we have at least 3 snapping turtles in here, alligator snapping turtles. They are in here. We have bullfrogs. We have dragonflies. I mean, we have all sorts of things living in here. I don't think we have any fish because we've never put fish in here. With the snapping turtles, we're like, wow, are we gonna waste our money on putting fish because the snapping turtles will just eat them? We have herons that come and use this pond and hunt for little frogs and toads and bullfrogs and all this fun things. So this is an area that will get developed. Yeah, so what we're gonna do is, I think we're gonna get ready to go ahead and start. The boys are gonna cut down the trees. Jackson is most excited about that. We gotta get my bird feeder off that tree first. So we're gonna get these trees down, see how that goes, and then I will take you over to the pines and show you kind of that production facility that we are getting ready for our shade, shrubs, and perennials. Okay, my friends, so we got the 3 trees down. Jerry was able to loosely, shall we say, dig up, push them over. And that's, of course, what we have to do that because we can't just go in there with a chainsaw and just cut them. You could, but you still have to get the root ball out because, again, where those trees were, we're gonna have the gardens and that's where we're gonna have plants. So even if he did cut them with a chainsaw, we still have to get the root ball out. So it was easier to do it that way. We believe that 2 of them were maples. 2 of them, the last 2, he said just went over super easy. And then the first one he thinks was a black gum, and it was a little tighter. But again, we're not ones just to go willy-nilly and cutting down trees. We are going to be planting tons of trees, tons of shrubs, perennials, annuals within this space. Sometimes we had to, you know, just take out a few so that we can add more to this space. So we have wonderful plans for this area. This kind of gives you a different perspective though. I'm up on the hill, and so of course the pond is just over my shoulder right here, and this is an absolutely lovely, delightful spot. It is like a little hidden gem here at the nursery because people just don't come up here. I mean, there's no need to come up here. We're going to change that though with the gardens and have people come up here. It's just a beautiful bird's eye view and in the shade, and it's cool, and it is just glorious. So Jerry is using the grapple on the bobcat. You know, just picked up a 20-foot log, and so off he goes to move that out of the way so that we can get this cleared out and proceed with that. So today, I think this is probably as far as we're going to go with the development of the gardens, because it is 3 o'clock in the afternoon and we've got some cleanup to do. And then, yeah, it's just going to really change the space. And it's interesting because even though we took those 3 trees out, this whole area down there near the gardens is still in some nice shade because the sun actually sets almost kind of here in like this direction. So in the late afternoon, that is in the shade. So I will be planting accordingly. So my plants that are considered full sun, they like that 6 hours of sun, but they need a break from the hot afternoon sun, they're gonna go in that quadrant for sure. So yeah, so okay. We're gonna watch him clean up the debris here, probably, I don't know, whatever he feels like doing today. Then we're gonna bop on over to the pines and check on our sweet folks over there and see how that project is going. All right, my friends, so Jerry has got all of the tree debris cleaned up and it has the hole filled in, and my goodness, now you can see, for the most part, right, you can see where the garden is going. So let me just kind of walk you through. I know it is hard. We will do drone shots of this. I don't know on this video, but we will definitely be doing some drone shots overall as the garden gets developed and so forth. So what we have, you can see the hole where the trees were, not even a hole, they're the field, blank spot, dirt spot, where the trees were, and completely gone, basically all the roots gone. That is why he does it the way he does, and so that way we don't have big massive holes in there and tree roots. So that is all gone. Of course, we'll have to do some final cleanup, right? Final grading and all that. We're not even close to doing that right now. But, I mean, look how shady this area is. Let me give you a different perspective here, up against right here, and kind of shoot down the line again for you. So, kind of hard to see where that other, but right all the way down there. So this is all getting great afternoon shade, and that shade is just going to continue to work its way to the creek bank, but all of that nicely in the shade, whereas over here, lots of good sun. Gonna have to put plants that can handle afternoon sun over here. So this area will get morning shade, afternoon sun, and then this side over here is basically the exact opposite. This is first sun in the morning and then shade in the afternoon, but just a nice clean slate right here for a beautiful garden to go into. So the next steps as far as this area, as what we have to do here, is that number one, we are going to be running fiber line from the barn all the way up to production. That is so we can have our internet up at production area, so that way we can have it all for shipping and everything. So that is going to be basically a direct shot from the barn, because we have to go across the creek, through the fields, over the river and through the woods to the production house we go. And that will be number one. So that goes in first because we need to have a straight line. That will be nice and deep, so we don't have to worry about that as far as the garden messing up with that. Then we will of course have to run electrical, because we'll have the fountain in here, so we'll have to have electrical. If we end up putting landscape lighting in here at some point, we'll need to be able to have electrical for that. And then of course irrigation. So all the irrigation for the flower beds and for the grass, that will go in, and then we'll come back through final and do like top dressing, you know, for all the beds, and actual then lay out the lines for the beds and make the beds as opposed to where the grass is. So it is a process for sure. Yeah, some of that infrastructure just takes a little longer than others. The fiber line is, you know, that'll be a humdinger of a job, but thankfully we have enough equipment that we can do that ourselves. We don't have to hire anybody for that. So that is definitely going to be a money saver on that. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. Jackson was over here working on the pond, getting it kind of the weeds cut back for me around there, so that way we can begin to maintain all of this. And we are, I think I said, I don't know if I said it or not, we are going to drain it, so that way we can then, we have a lot of rocks over time that have just kind of slid down into the water, so we need to bring all those back up. So we've got some work we've got to do here, just to make this look super nice how we want it to look. So that is kind of the process on that, but it just looks so much neater and tidier. Yes, I know the water itself is got some grass debris and all that on it. It'll sink down to the bottom and be just fine. This is a natural clay bottom pond, and yeah, so there we go on that. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna head over to the pines. Emily and Cece were over here just a second ago, and they were like, we're done. So close to being done. So we're gonna go over there, see that, because I'm gonna show you, those of you that have been to the nursery or you've been watching us on nursery tours, you'll get an idea of the improvements that have been made over there for shade protection. All right, so as we are making our way through the pines, you will probably recognize this, familiar, you know, of course, from our nursery tours. But here we have, this is of course where we have all of our shade, part shade, shrubs and perennials that are for sale at the nursery. But we were finding that we need also a place to grow those kinds of plants, right? So, wow, look at that. Look how good that looks. Amazing. So Jerry cleared this area out, gosh, last fall, I think is maybe when he started doing that. And then we got irrigation put in this spring. Don't worry, we will come back and spray paint the white PVC black. And then we went ahead and got a little ahead of ourselves and put some perennials and shrubs. You can see, you probably see them all lined up right here. Went ahead and put them out there on the out there in the area. And then the weeds just went bananas. I mean, they were so happy. And we were like, okay, yeah, this is massive amounts of weeds and growing plants for retail, not a conducive environment. So we had to pull them all back off, pull them all off. Jerry came through with the little bobcat and basically just kind of like scraped the top layer off and got the weeds out of there. And then this morning, Cece, Emily, and Meredith came through and cleaned up all around the trees and got all that debris out. My gosh, it looks good. Got all of that out, and then started laying down. This is landscape fabric. It is, it's not plastic, it is a fabric because it is porous. And so when it rains or the irrigation comes on, it will, you know, the water will go through down into the natural soil. But it is a fantastic way to suppress weeds here in a production facility. But look at that. They're so good. They put the fabric like between the trees and as up close to the trees as they possibly could get because of the weed suppression and doing that. So now what we can do is come back through here in an organized, orderly fashion, and then put, of course, all the perennials. So we have the perennials here. So what we have, just to kind of give you an idea, if you're like, well, what are you growing out there? Well, I'll tell you. So the plants that look really rough right now here on the corner, those are bleeding hearts. If your bleeding hearts in your garden look like this, do not worry, do not fret. They are not dying, they are simply going dormant. These are cool weather perennials that love the cool weather. It is hot, it is humid. They're like, okay, I'm done. See, I'm going to bed. I will see y'all in the early spring. So if your bleeding hearts look like this, perfectly normal. We have got Solomon seal, and then a whole host of all different kinds of hostas through here that we are growing. So if you come to the nursery and you're shopping and you come out on this area, I mean, yeah, we'll sell you the perennials, but these are not, maybe their roots are not as developed as we would like them to be. And so just know that while yes, we will sell them to you, we don't deem them as ready to be put out onto the retail floor. And then we've got all of our beautiful big leaf hydrangeas right here. These are a lot of the Let's Dance series. So these are your Macrophylla hydrangeas. Gorgeous. They're beautiful. We just need them to pop on some some beautiful blooms, and then man, these suckers would sell like crazy. But these have done really, really well this year, just growing. And very happy, very healthy plants. So then those come out here too. So you can see, right, we talk about shade and you're like, but Jenny, that's got sun on it. Well, yes, it does have sun on it, but the definition of shade is that it gets 4 hours or less of sun. And so this is what the sun looks like at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, but it has not been this way but maybe, I don't know, 30, 45 minutes. And so it moves and it shifts as the sun goes because we have these beautiful pine trees. There's a tulip tree. We have poplar trees in here. We've got all sorts of different kinds of trees that give this area protection and shade. And so there you go. They will do just fine right here. Just kind of gives you a whole perspective of where we are. Yep. All right, my friends, it has been a fantastic day. We have gotten so much done. I feel very, very accomplished. We got the signature garden mapped out. The 4 corners are laid, those trees are gone. We now know kind of the area that we are working with, exactly the area that we are working with. Our sweet people got this all done. So man, it was a good day. And here we are, today's August the 1st. So that's what, today's Tuesday? Tuesday, August 1st. And we woke up this morning, because you know, we always have coffee on the front porch. And I was like, ooh, what is that? Is that a breeze? Is that cool, dry air? It's fantastic. I mean, yes, it's hot out here and had a little sweat, but I am not glistening. I am not soaked from head to toe. So it has been a great day to be outside. Much drier air, much lower dew point. It is just lovely. So anyway, I hope maybe you've got to experience a little bit of this drier air too, wherever you may be. As always, we so appreciate you. Thank you for gardening with Creekside. We'll keep you updated on all the projects, right? So this signature garden, it is going to be an ongoing process for a long time coming, because somebody said this, a garden that doesn't grow is a dead garden, right? So like, meaning like one that's not changing, right? I know that literally if it doesn't grow, it's dead. But if you're not changing and added to it, a stagnant garden maybe is a dead garden. I don't know. Anyway, I'm rambling. Y'all have a great day. See you in the next video. Bye, friends.